Are you back? There you are.
Okay, so that's actually nice. It kept you in the studio, and
And it
then
kept recording.
well, okay, it didn't. The recording stopped for me. I'll just have to look at that back whenever we get into it. Uh, so basically, what happened there was whenever the recording started, it made my car think that I was getting into a phone call. So it was bouncing back and forth between my phone and my car's radio. And then, it switched so many times that the studio was like, I guess you're not recording today, and it shut down.
I don't blame it.
So yeah, that's how we're going to start this off with. Uh, so I guess before we get into the reason why we're doing a new recording studio setup and all that, we actually have announcements. Well, not really, not announcements for us, but announcements for some of our friends. Neon Hive, which is it's the team that hooked us up with the Doomsday Paradise codes.
Yeah?
They just launched a publishing label, and they sent me a little press release. I'm going to read some stuff off of it real quick. First off, if you haven't heard of Neon Hive, just go check them out. I shared a Facebook link earlier, and I posted a link to the Twitter, and I'll also post a link to the little press release in the show notes of this podcast. But yeah, they've got two games that they're talking about in the press release. The first is called Harvest Hunt, which this is 100% going to be something that I look into. I'm going to download the demo later. But it's basically a horror roguelike, and it's actually, IGN was, they had some stuff about that game on IGN earlier. There is a trailer that is up now. You can go check it out. It's voiced by, I want to make sure I'm saying this. I think it's Samantha Beart. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. But the one thing that I was familiar with, she voices Karlach from Baldur's Gate.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, really good voice actress. But yeah, so basically, you're the warden, and you have to protect your village from the ever-present threat of the Devourer. Each night, you will draw from your deck of whispers and go forth into the farmlands of Luna Nova, gathering resources that are crucial to the survival of your people. You are the first and only line of defense, and you must make it through the night. That's the little synopsis they had. And another thing worth noting, the demo is available. There's a demo on Steam now if you want to check that out. I'm definitely downloading the demo later. The second game is called Slope Crashers. It's made by a solo developer. I feel so bad because I feel like I'm going to ruin this name too. Johannes Lugstein at Byte Parrot, I'm so sorry, was recently selected to be part of the Xbox's Winterfest demo festival in December. The game takes the slopes as a snowboarding animal and this colorful arcade combat racer that has been taking TikTok by storm, coming to PC, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox Series S, X later this year. It is a cross-platform party game that the whole family can enjoy. So yeah, just be sure to go over and check the show notes. Go check out Neon Hive. Follow them on Twitter. They were really great. They got us those Doomsday Paradise codes, and I'm actually working on getting some. So I'm waiting on some more codes that we might be getting in the next few months or so. So really exciting things there.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, so going into it, the reason that we're doing this new podcast setup, Spotify for podcasters, is basically coming to an end. There's sunsetting. Is that the word? That's a word. Yeah, sunsetting the program because they have a partnership with Riverside FM. So we're the service is getting taken down in like June of this year. So I'm wanting to get ahead of it and start recording things over on this side, just so we can get used to it. And I'm going to say this now. I think that Riverside has a good service. We did a test recording yesterday, and I was able to export that out and an editing program and kind of make it sound a little better than what we usually put out. But the one thing that I do not like, and I'm going to say this clearly, the fact that they're shutting Spotify for podcasters down is a really bad move. Nothing against Riverside FM, but there are a lot of people that are losing their podcasts over this. We're lucky enough to where, our podcast can still be recorded how it's recorded, and it doesn't really harm. I mean, it harms the bonus. I was doing I don't know if you saw, but on Spotify I was doing a bonus series where I reviewed Jason Isbell's music, and
Yeah, I noticed that.
yeah. So when that series is done, I was gonna do Toby Keith because he just passed away, and I thought it would be a nice thing to do. But it's not looking like it's gonna happen because by the time I'm done with Jason Isbell series, I don't think I'll have enough time to go into Toby Keith. But we'll just have to see. But like a lot of people that are taking advantage of that feature to stitch in music from Spotify for their shows, they're basically they're getting screwed, and they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So they're just going through the YouTube comments, it was really heartbreaking to see how many people were just losing the ability to record their podcasts because there's not really another. The biggest thing of what made Spotify for podcasts so big was there was nothing like it out there. Like there wasn't really a thing that just let you put licensed music into your podcast without getting in trouble.
Right.
So we're swapping over to this Riverside FM setup. So far, it's going well. We're learning. A feature that Leo and I have talked about in the past is something that we can do here where in the middle of a recording, we can invite other people to join us if we wanted to. So it's closer to a radio show than ever before. I really like that. I really appreciate that. So yeah, we're going to start doing this. And I could think of no better way to introduce our audience to Riverside FM than to talk about Resident Evil Executor 4D.
We're finally going to talk about this wonderful, wonderful movie.
So this is something that I did not know about until you had showed it to me.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm assuming this is for a 4D ride in Japan or something?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, I would love to be able to experience this the way it was intended. I would love to find some kind of 4D theater that I can experience this in, but that will never happen.
I mean, if I could figure out the timing, because you can see where it's supposed to shake and stuff.
Well,
I could just get behind your chair and just move you forward and backwards, side to side.
Yeah, whenever the rat has tentacles sparred out, you could just slap. You could just slap a imitation crab on my face or something. A wet pool noodle.
Oh, that's pretty good. Displayed spaghetti.
So yeah, I guess we should go back a little bit. We decided that since Resident Evil Interview was so popular with our viewers, we would keep it going, and we would review all the Resident Evil media. And
yeah.
So I actually let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I made a spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets.
Yes, you do. You're a spreadsheet man.
I am a spreadsheet man. Where is my Excel? Okay, here it is. Let's see. Let's search up 2024. And then, okay, we're at a red light. Okay, so we've got the masterpiece, Resident Evil Executor. Then we have the original Resident Evil live-action movie, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Degeneration, Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Retribution, Resident Evil Damnation, Resident Evil The Final Chapter, Resident Evil Vendetta, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, and this is where I'm going to need you to look up. What comes first? Was it the Netflix series or Welcome to Raccoon City? I want to say it's Welcome to Raccoon City is first, and then the Netflix series.
Give me 1 second. Evil Netflix, and the other one was Welcome to Raccoon City, right?
Right.
Okay, this is for teens. Okay, it's Welcome to Raccoon City first, and then the Resident Evil series.
Okay, so Netflix. So it'll be Raccoon City, Netflix, and then ending off with Death Island until they come out with more. And you have not seen Welcome to Raccoon City, correct?
No, I haven't.
Or the Netflix series.
I haven't. No, I'd like to stay away from stuff I don't like.
Well, let me tell you,
I know I won't like.
okay. So the thing about the Resident Evil movies, like the live action movies, they are like as far as cinema, they are bad movies. I still loved all of them. Uh,
I like two.
because here's the thing, they are technically bad movies, but they are still, like, for the most part, they are pretty, like, you can tell that they played the games whenever they made the movies, because they take all kinds of stuff from the games and put it, like, I remember, I think it was the fourth movie, like, it had a lot of stuff from Resident Evil 5, which is the game that had just come out before that movie. Like, I want to say the executioner was actually in the fourth movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, he was
Oh
in.
yeah, it was. It was. It was. Yeah.
Yeah,
The executioner Margini.
yeah, they were in there too. And then I think it wasn't until the fifth movie where they had the whole evil Jill plot mechanic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like. But Welcome to Raccoon City is just offensively bad. Like they take all the characters and, like, what if we just make them not like they are in the games?
Sounds not a sounds like a recipe for not making a good series or movie or
Like,
whatever it is.
okay, Leon in Welcome to Raccoon City is the equivalent of a stoned teenager the entire time. Like he's always like, "Oh, I've got to go do my job."
My job.
Like, I'm pretty sure at one point, the front of the police station explodes, and he just like, "Oh, I don't want to get out of my chair."
Yeah.
Like, I am legitimately excited for you to watch this movie. It was the one, like, okay, what, like, the Netflix series was bad, but, like, I could, if you take it away, like, if you were to look at the Netflix series and take out that it's like the Resident Evil IP from it, you could still, like, if you were just like a random person and just saw this random thing, not knowing anything about the games, you would probably have a good time watching it. But
No,
it's
what I'm pissed about the Resident Evil series is that they didn't use the one plot point they could have used.
which is what.
Oh, they could have made the Albert Wesker that they had part be one of the Wesker children from the that they mentioned in Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Yeah, and they didn't do that. They did not do that.
And that would have been awesome. I would have been like, holy shit, this is like such a good expansion from that.
And, like, I mean, it was so bad that not even Lance Reddick could save it.
Yeah, but we need to get back to our main topic for the day.
Oh yes, the masterpiece that is Resident Evil Executor.
For the
4D, yes, that's important. You gotta mention the 4D. Uh, so I'm gonna let you give your thoughts first.
Well, just to get like a little quick recap, basically
Okay.
this is a movie about basically an umbrella strike team going into the city. They're trying to get some info from some doc. They're trying to find some doctor who basically was experimented with something in the city, obviously a virus or whatever.
In Resident Evil?
Uh, I know, such creativity.
I know. I would never seen that coming. Continue.
Uh, they go to where they follow the signal and eventually go to like a food warehouse where they basically just find the big monster, blow it up. They're like, "Where the fuck's the researcher?" It's like, "Oh no, we got this other thing we can follow. Let's keep going." So they start following that, and like while they're leaving, you can see like one of the roaches that was just flying around the area because obviously it's just been abandoned for like a while.
Yeah.
Eats a little bit of the monster and basically it gets like transferred the virus,
Yes.
and which basically like leads to it being eaten by a rat, which absorbs the virus as well, who then goes to Crow to do the same thing.
Yeah, and before we move on, I really like the rat thing because it reminded me of the reveal trailer for Resident Evil 2 remake.
I actually like the whole idea of just like, oh yeah, like this is just being transferred from like animal to animal. It's very Resident Evil.
Yeah,
But yeah, basically go to this other area. Uh, basically just find the person's computer. They start downloading the stuff. Basically, the other guy's like, "Oh, we just came for this shit. This is why I had to lose people on my team." And basically kicks him into like the corpse of a monster, if I remember right. And as the main guy starts leaving, just starts hearing shots from outside. When he goes to check, oh yeah, the monster came back and is killing all his people. It starts following him. He barely manages to get away with the guy he punched into the trash, basically driving him away. And as they leave, the spoilers, everybody. Uh, the guy basically reveals that he's been infected by the virus, and he now has a consciousness of the doctor who they were looking for.
and let me stop you right there. I'm all for not having the best, perception, like situational awareness, but I feel like I would know if the guy sitting 2 feet away from me had a giant parasite on the side of them.
Yeah, I feel that's too, but I mean, I just kind of, as always, I just have issues with like the whole like transfer consciousness stuff, like at least at that level.
Yes, the one thing that well, two things. I enjoyed how it really just felt like they took the graphics from Resident Evil 2 and 3 and the cutscenes. It felt like they just took that and made it into a slightly better version for a movie.
Yeah,
It really had that nostalgia thing going for it.
it did look like they put a lot of work into like at least like when they were like inside like the little food warehouse. It looked like they put a lot of work into like putting everything there, how everything worked and everything.
Yeah, and also when I started, I didn't expect I didn't like read any of the stuff like in like the detail section,
Yeah.
but whenever I clicked onto it, I thought that I'd accidentally pulled up my window that had Yakuza in the background because it started, the Japanese started, the Japanese voices started filtering into my headphones. It's like, what am I watching?
Oh yeah, I forgot to warn you about that because
Yes,
I had forgotten it was in Japanese as well.
because a lot of times when I'm watching things while I'm doing my work at my desk, I kind of just like have one earbud in. So like whenever I started watching it, I was like, oh, I actually got to watch this the whole time.
Oh god.
Which isn't
But
honestly, it isn't too bad because I mean this thing is only like what 20 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really short.
So for the listeners at home, this is really easy watching.
Very easy.
So yeah.
You said you like two things. You mentioned like the graphics. What was the other thing?
Oh well, the second thing was I was mentioning that the Japanese was like really out of left field for me. Uh,
Oh, okay.
but the one thing that I really appreciated like all of the creative ways that the different infected animals were taking people out.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I thought the cockroach part was as creepy as it should be. Uh,
Oh yeah. It really does like remind you of like the RE the RE2 remake at least.
well, the cockroach part actually reminded me of Resident Evil Zero because they had the leeches, which were, I mean, close enough.
Yeah. And I gotta
Leeches.
say, I was gonna say I like the design for like the big executor monster.
Hmm.
It just felt like a big giant liquor.
And I mean, also, like as I was watching it, I was like, man, these would have been cool. They were like, if they were in like a Resident Evil game that you could play and fight against those monsters.
Oh yeah.
But
But
yeah.
then again,
Oh, good.
so, no, I was gonna say, but then again, like, how do you kill something that's just like, oh yeah, look, the little roach basically bites it, and then oh, we got another infection going on.
Well, I could tell you how I would do. I don't know if you stumbled upon this quest in Baldur's Gate 3, but there is a quest. I think it's in Act 2, maybe. Uh, where basically there is somebody that is really powerful, but you can skip the boss fight if you go and remove a curse. And to remove a curse, you have to fight an enemy that basically splits into like 2 dozen different copies of himself, but they're all like kill. Like, you can kill them in one hit, but they all like
Oh, okay.
they rush your character and they can very easily kill you. Like it took me a couple different tries to beat this boss, but that's
Yeah,
what.
I wasn't able to do that quest because we kind of glitched. So basically, our game was very glitched by the end because we kept killing everybody we saw.
Yeah, that tracks. uh, Actually, I say this all the time, but one of these days I'm going to go back and play another run in Baldur's Gate.
Same,
Uh,
same.
so on that note, do you have any closing thoughts for Resident Evil Executor?
4D.
Yeah, 40. Sorry,
Uh,
sorry, sorry, sorry.
uh, it. I was gonna say it's honestly a product of its time. It feels like it adds a little bit, but it's so obviously non-canon, and it's just kind of like a little fun thing to like enjoy if you like seeing like a lot more of like the Resident Evil series, just how it's been handled by different people.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, there are things in here that definitely remind me of the Resident Evil games, but more so it remind me of some of the CGI movies that we're going to get to later in the list.
Oh, but I like the CGI movies.
Oh, do you like the scene where Leon shoots for 3 minutes without reloading his pistol?
I love it.
I
I
remember.
also love how he randomly kills people in the highway.
Yeah. Oh, yep. I know what you're talking about. I also really appreciate the scene where the tyrant grabs the liquor by a tongue and uses him as like a wrecking, like a mace, basically. Like he rolls him around like a tetherball.
Dude, I feel that's awesomely done.
That
I don't know about you.
well, like that's one of those moments where I feel like that was made by like a Resident Evil fan. I was like, what if we had a tyrant throw around a liquor? See, I almost did it again. I almost did the clicker thing. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
it's one letter.
it is one letter. But I feel like that was done by Resident Evil. I was like, what if we just did this? Nobody can stop us. They gave us free reign.
Oh yeah. No, but I enjoy the CG movies because I feel like they get a little bit more of the stupid atmosphere from the games
That's fair.
than the live action movies.
Well, so that was our review of Resident Evil Executor 4D. I got it that time. Uh,
Yes, you did.
Obviously, it's the first movie on the list, so it is sitting at number one as it should be.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
the only time it will be. Uh, this isn't going to be like a every week. It's going to be kind of like a whenever we can thing. But the next movie
Yeah.
on the list was the original Resident Evil live action movie. Uh, so yeah, we're gonna get to that eventually. But
Which I
before,
do have some nice things to say about it because I do have some parts I do like about that movie.
oh yeah, the early ones were like they. A lot of people did not like them, but like I think they for video game movies at that time they were pretty respectful.
Like I said, I like two. I really like two.
Well, see, I liked one, I really liked two, and I had a guilty pleasure love of three. I love that movie so much. Uh, but before we go, so the third topic of the show that I wanted to talk about is we got codes from Evolve PR for a game called Enshrouded. Uh, I started playing this game. I love this game. Uh,
I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet.
so when I finish, I think you're going to want to because it on the surface it looks like your standard crafting survival co-op experience, but where it's going to draw you in, Leo, is it is a Souls
Yeah.
like.
Okay, you're getting my attention.
I did not know it was a Souls like. uh, because it's very deceiving at first. Like the first enemies you encounter, you just smack them out of the way. They're nothing. Um, so when I got out of the first like dangerous area, um, you get to like your first main thing was like you got to establish your base. So yeah, I established my base, and it's like, all right, the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go get somebody to join your base. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna start building up my camp to be as cool as I want it to be. So like I made like a like when you put your base down, you can you have like a certain amount of buildable space that you can work within. So I like on the borders of my buildable space, I built like basically just a giant stone wall completely around me, so nothing can sneak up on me. And there's one door,
Nice.
so if anything comes in, they're going to break through that door. Uh, which I guess is worth saying. Nothing has attacked me yet. Like nothing's come in the middle of the night. Like I've had like wolves wander in my camp before, but I mean those are really easy to kill. Um, so I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to like I've gotten like the the base built like the basic things. I've got a wall around me. I've got a house with a fireplace and a bed in it. I'm gonna start like crafting like weapons and armor for my character. And the crafting system. I mean, you see the system in hundreds of games at this point, where it's basically the more you level up, you unlock more recipes, and as you find things, uh, like when you find torn cloth, like you unlock a lot of recipes that use torn cloth, and there's also a skill tree. So as you level up your character, you can basically make builds, which is I know is a big thing for Souls players. Uh, so I
You know,
was
you said it's a Souls game. It's a Souls like. I keep having one question in my mind.
go for it.
How are the feet looking?
How the what?
The feet.
The feet?
Yes, it's very important.
I mean, I haven't really noticed the feet.
Mm.
Well, you've got a code, so you can see the feet all you want. Uh, so, all right, to get torn cloth, you basically have to find it in like abandoned villages or town places. Um,
Yeah.
and there was like an abandoned little castle market area that's like right by where my base is. So I was going through there, and throughout the world, there are these places where I think it's called the Shroud. It's basically like this blue mist, and
Yeah.
you can only stay in the mist for like 5 minutes to start off with, but you can get upgrades to stay in the mist longer. But in the mist, there are these enemies, right? And
Right.
so I killed these enemies, and I was like, man, this is kind of getting hard. And I looked up a like a guide to like where to find things. It's like, yeah, be sure to parry the enemies. It's like, oh, parry. That's a Souls word. Uh, so I started to like really pay attention to like people playing the game on YouTube. And I was like, they're playing this like Dark Souls shit. Uh, so out of nowhere, I'm exploring this area. I've gotten to combat with a lot of enemies, and they're starting to get harder. And
Right.
I'm like, okay, I can't heal by eating food. That's a problem. So I look up how to heal. You have to make bandages to heal yourself. Um, or there are certain foods that heal you, but I didn't have any. So I go back in to find some more torn cloth, and I can see where the enemies are, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna go over there. I'm gonna go over here to look. If I'm lying, I'm dying. A chinchilla pops out and kicks my ass. Like this thing comes out of nowhere. Just, I mean, it starts screaming at me. It's attacking me. I'm trying to hit it. I can't hit it. It's very small. And it, like, I have to run back to my castle. I've got like a sliver of health. And like the whole time I was like, man, this game is so good that I had to make myself go to sleep last night because I knew I had work in the morning.
Well, at least you knew.
But yeah, so like, whenever you do want to hop into this game, I'll open up my world. You go do some combat, get the materials we need, and I'll build our house.
You just leaving the combat to me.
Yeah, I'll keep the home fire burning. I'll get things going. Also, this is something I did not know about until doing a little bit more research after playing the game. You can basically your character's progress carries over no matter what world you go into. So all the progress for your character that you place into like your own world, like my character, if you created a world and joined your world, all of my leveled up character with all my upgrades and gear goes over to your world. So I really like that.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah,
And
that is nice.
uh, I actually I looked at I like to look at the Steam page just to get a metric of how other people are feeling about games sometimes. And I knew the metric for this game was I think it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam. And there are people. This is an early access game, mind you, that came out this month. There are people that have already put in 200 plus hours into this game. Uh, there is this one review. I thought it was very thought provoking and a very beautiful read. And it says, before I played Enshrouded, I had a small wee wee, no friends, no girlfriend, and absolutely no will to live. None of these things have changed, but this game is pretty good. And this kind of great, hard hitting review journalism is what I live for. And I think that,
Well,
go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say, well, it definitely a Souls like he grew as a person.
Yeah, you know, uh, nothing in his life has changed, but this is a good game for him. So that's real. And also, uh, if you are a handheld gamer like me and you play on the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, uh, I don't necessarily know about the Steam Deck because I haven't tested on there, but it runs pretty solid on the ROG Ally. I'm playing it. I mean, a pretty steady frame rate the whole time. So, and like you have to fiddle with the settings for a little bit, but all in all, it's a good little game. It's a good game. I like it a lot. I'm going to play it a lot. I actually, I
You made me want to play it. So
I am actually in a ridiculous state of mind right now, where I am now carrying both my RG Ally and my Steam Deck to work with me every day now because.
that is ridiculous.
So the one thing the Steam Deck absolutely has over the ROG Ally is the sleep mode function is 100% better on the Steam Deck. It will never mess up. Your game will always pick up where you left off. So I'm playing Yakuza 0 on my Steam Deck because the saves in that game are so infrequent. So I can put it to sleep and not worry about it. And
Yeah,
I am playing Enshrouded on my RG Ally. So I'm carrying both of those systems with me at all times. So I can always have something to play.
you're lucky, man. I wish I could play at work, but no, I can't.
See, I remember with Timberborn, that little beaver settlement sim that I reviewed a month or two ago. I did play that at my like I just had my second monitor pulled up and I had that. It's such like a low spec game that I was just playing it while I was doing my job.
I can't even do that because since my work has me like be like have to look out for people doing paperwork and stuff. I can't be seen like playing anything, and I can't like go away from like the front desk for like more than a few minutes.
Oh well, we got to get you a one of those glasses, those new AR glasses. Have you seen like the Nreal glasses?
I mean, I've been seeing. I saw like a little thing of like the Apple ones, how like they look,
Okay,
which is
so
kind of how I imagined they would look. I'm not gonna lie.
I think it's called the Nreal Air glasses, and I want these things so bad. Basically, they look like just a regular pair of sunglasses, and they have a cord running out the frame, and
Yeah.
you can plug in like a PlayStation, anything with an HDMI signal. Uh, and basically, it looks like there's a 70-inch screen in front of you, and people say that it works insanely good. Uh, and I want to say, like, I mean, and they're expensive, but they're not anywhere near as expensive like the Apple uh, Vision Pro. Like the Apple Vision Pro is like $3,600, and these things are like $200, $300.
Wow.
And I mean, honestly,
A lot. That's a lot of difference.
yeah, it's a lot of difference. And I'm honestly thinking about if there's leftover on our tax return, I might see if I can convince Emily to. Let me hold on to a couple $100.
And you need it for science.
Yeah, absolutely. Just strictly research purposes. I'll use it I'll put it as a write off on the podcast.
Wait, man, can you start doing that yet?
Well, we have $5. I don't know if you know this.
We got more money.
No, it's always been $5. No, okay,
I thought it
actually,
was $2.
we've got $5 and Facebook Pay. Like, okay, so back in the Here We Are Gaming days, I got $5 from the streams, and it's just been sitting in my Facebook account. and I can't get to it. So I've got $5. They just won't give me the $5. And then we got a $1.70 from when we did from when we were partnered with Dubby and Rhett ordered using our link. We've got
Yeah.
$6.70.
Oh man. See, we're not doing as bad as we thought.
That's basically a down payment on those glasses.
I mean, basically, you might even buy. You might even be able to afford like a house.
Oh yeah, I heard Barbie dream houses are all the rage for that amount of money.
Oh, do you know what? A friend was making a joke about them. I started looking up the prices. Those things are expensive.
The Barbie dream houses?
Yeah,
Oh, I know. I've got two daughters. I know exactly how expensive they are.
yeah. I mean, I figured you would know that way, but still, it's amazing how expensive they are.
Yeah, and I know toys, and they've always gotten into expensive territory, but I feel like when I was a kid, like toys were not nearly as expensive as they are now. Uh, I remember uh, there was a Transformers toy. I think it was. Do you remember the name of the Transformers series where it had the Minicrons or the Minicons?
To be honest with you, I never really watched Transformers too much. I was more of a Bionicle kid.
See, and I never watched Bionicles. I always watched Transformers.
Oh,
Uh,
you didn't watch Bionicles. You just buy Bionicles.
well, I remember Toonami had like the Bionicles, like it was like a CG show, I think.
They made some movies afterwards.
But yeah, there was like a Optimus Prime action figure that I always wanted. It was like it was pretty big, and it wasn't just Optimus Prime. It had a trailer that it doubled. All right, so you could either unfold the trailer and it was like a little base for your Transformers, or you could use it to like fuse in with the Optimus Prime and make like a an upgraded version of Optimus Prime, basically. And like this was a gigantic toy. It was massive, and it was only $30. And I feel like today that's $100 toy.
Oh no, that's more.
Like,
At least here, because I mean, I am kind of sad just how like how boring toys are nowadays.
and another
I mean,
thing,
yeah,
I mean, not to knock, you know, although I do like to knock YouTube creators sometimes, uh, but a lot of toys are just little trash toys from like these guys like Mr. Beast and what's the FGTV. Like nothing against those guys, but they put out these products that are not good. Uh, but kids watch YouTube and they just see the name and they're like, well, we'll spend this. We'll get our parents to spend this exorbitant amount of money for these crap toys.
yeah.
Back then,
Also,
our
like,
toys are made with metal, son.
oh yeah, I was actually gonna like mention something like that. I remember like I collected Hot Wheels when I was very little. I
Same.
remember collecting Hot Wheels, and Hot Wheels still come out, but I feel like they don't have the charm or energy that they used to have.
Yeah, they definitely don't. But like the one place where Hot Wheels are still thriving is they're making some banging Hot Wheels games right now.
Wait, oh, I mean they're doing good. That's nice.
Yeah, and also there was a Forza Horizon 5, I want to say. They did a DLC where it was Hot Wheels inspired, and it was awesome.
I kind of want to see that.
Yeah, I highly recommend that you look those up on YouTube because those like that, and there's like a couple Hot Wheels games on Game Pass that like I've watched my kids play. It's like, man, that looks great.
But but yeah, it's a sad state. Just also like we're sounding very old the way we're talking. Back
Uh,
in my days,
Also, I've got a bone to pick with this new Transformers movie. I finally watched Rise of the Beasts, which was the
yeah,
Transformers movie that came out last year. Okay, they make spoiler alert for a bad movie, uh, but I'm saying this so you don't have to watch it. Uh, at the end of the last Mark Wahlberg Transformers movie, they basically they tease Unicron is coming. They say he's coming, which if you look up Unicron, he's basically a planet that is a transformer. He's massive. Uh,
I remember him mostly because Whenever I just got to the States, my cousin got that for a Christmas present.
The giant Unicron.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that thing was so cool. That was like the one Transformer I always wanted but never got. Uh, Mainly because if you remember, like again, going back to our childhood, these Transformers, they made them like so fast, like transform in like the commercials. They take 3 years to transform. That's like you have to get an instruction booklet out. And
Oh yeah.
for the Unicron, I can't even imagine. Uh, but basically, they tease Unicron's coming, and then in this new movie, which is in a complete like after that last Mark Wahlberg movie, they're like, all right, we're gonna reboot the franchise. They put out Bumblebee, fantastic movie, and then they're like, all right, Rise of the Beasts is gonna be a sequel to that great movie, and it's a horrible movie. Uh, Emily liked it, if you can believe it. Uh,
I mean, from what you told me, it's like what I would expect.
like, and here's the thing, like it's a fun movie to watch, but like it's like one of those movies where if you start thinking about it, you're like, man, that sucked. Uh, so you get to Rise of the Beasts. The movie starts off with Unicron. He's like they're saying, all right, he's here.
All right. Did we lose our friend? Will he come back? I think he'll come back. Okay, it didn't cut. It couldn't cut the thing out, so yeah. All I'm gonna say is, at least now we know it won't happen. Like the whole, oh, we have to start basically all over again. I mean, I was just gonna think like the guy who was interviewing him was Shia LaBeouf, but I have so many questions. Question: comic or TV show? Okay. then it doesn't count because everybody crosses over to the comics. Yeah, that's what I mean. See who throws the more money away. I mean, but yeah, but what if you give him prep time? The most stupid fucking argument for like Batman argument for Batman fights. Yeah, but what if he has prep time? I don't know. I feel all his stuff is EMP proof. I mean, I figure like the guy who basically like has robotics everywhere. It's like, you know what? This is like my one obvious weakness. I should probably do something about it. But this to make it even weaker to EMPs. Thank you for adding the 4D. Thanks for having me. Be seeing you guys.